Grand Rising, I am Empress Sade Elbay, and this is the Moors News Network. If you would like to follow us, you can join us on Telegram at the Moors News Network. Invite link provided in the description below. We speak on all the latest news, spiritual news, Mother Gaia news, and share knowledge, products, and services, along with preparedness information, and all of the information that you just can't speak about on any other pretty much social media platform due to content and free speech restrictions. Okay, this is the show that we call The Shift with Empress Adaora and Phoenix Star, and Empress Phoenix Star is here today, and we're going to speak about safe locations for the pole shift, spiritual shift, along with food preservation and storage, herbs, survival practices, tools, and so much more, because we definitely go into way more than just that. So again, without further ado, hello, Empress Phoenix Star.
Hey.
Are you here? There you are.
All right. Good. How are you doing?
As usual, I'm doing good. I'm glad that we are here to give the people this information. As I stated before, we've been getting a lot of positive feedback. A lot of people are loving the information that is being provided, and so I'm definitely happy with that. And, I just want to, continue to keep going with the process, because I know we have so much to share.
Yes, we do.
Now, before we get started, before I pass the floor over to Empress Phoenix Star, you guys already know, if you've been listening to any of the videos, the first thing I'm about to go in on, especially for those procrastinators, is nationality and nationalizing. There should be no reason why you have not reached out to get the free documentation so you can get started on claiming not only your sovereignty, but also your inheritance, your children's inheritance, and pretty much claiming your true identity today. Okay? It's free information. So if you have not reached out to me, I'm just going to say you probably are still asleep. At some point, you got to say you got to be still asleep, because if anybody sees what's going on today and what's happening all around with the United States Corporation going defunct, and I'm going to get into a little bit more about that in 2 seconds. And Empress Phoenix Star, if you want to add in, you can. But there's so much stuff going on today. The corporation is no longer, if you haven't heard, a lot of already. Oh goodness! Please don't drop that. I'm sorry. Talking to somebody in the background. A lot of people, a lot of places already are going to the Republic. Okay, and are no longer part of the Queen system and the corporate system. Okay, so you're going to see that more and more. So don't be surprised. They're going back to their sovereignty, and you must do that. You don't have to. Okay, but if you're choosing to stay under the corporate system and be a corporate citizen, a debtor into the slave system, you're going to go down with the ship. Going down with the ship may entail you being foreclosed on and repossessed, your physical body as well as your assets. Okay? So it's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. I can't stress it enough. So if you are listening to this right now, get up off your patootie and reach out and just shoot an email so I can give you guys this information. And if you do need help, I'm definitely here for you. I do consultations for a small donation for those that need it. Some people do, some people don't. Mm-hmm. Just get the information and start doing the study. We have templates. Is really nothing too much for you to really do. So reach out for that, as well as if anybody has been doing some of their spiritual work, and like I say, vibing up. We're trying to vibe up right now. Then you're probably trying to do your shadow work, and again, nationality is part of that. But also doing a karmic cleanse to help remove negative energies from your karmic cycles, in order for you to be prepared for what's coming up, which is, the 5D ascension. If you don't know anything about that, then definitely you want to do the study. Go look at some of the past videos, and just research on YouTube. There's so much information out there as well, so you can gain the knowledge on that and what's going on right now. Okay. Now, for those that have reached out, I'm doing the first karmic cleanse because we have a solar eclipse coming up December 4th. Okay. So we're preparing for that. I'm going to do that with a lot of people that have already reached out. So if you want to be a part of that, please, reach out to me. You can reach out at the Morris News Network at gmail.com. That's the Morris News Network at gmail.com. Or you can reach out on Telegram at the Morris News Network. Invite link, again, is provided in the description below. Okay, so that's the first agenda of the day. I want to get that part out the way. Also, to let you guys know, if you have not heard, because I did do a video stating that the pole shift, looks like it may have already happened. Okay, there's a lot of people, it's been buzzing about that. I've personally stated about the moon wobbling, but there has been other people like Brother Rionell that has stated that he has seen the shift. Looks like has happened. If you look up in the skies, things are not where they used to be. Okay, so many people are seeing about that in the skies. Also, Empress Isis also just stated that on her live not too long ago, that she also believes that the pole shift. So there's a lot of people kind of going to that consensus. However, even if the shift has happened, what is going to happen on Mother Gaia and the things that is going to take place, the aftermath of that shift, is still in place to happen right now, as we very well are seeing, whether it's man-made or whether it's all natural or whether it's a mixture of both, is not up for debate. I'm not trying to argue about that today, but we can see that there are changes going on right now, and there are physical changes going on with the land, with the weather, and so much else that's going on that as far as the shift goes, and people being able to see that. Okay. Next, I also want to tell you guys, because the U.S. Corp is defaulting, okay, and should be happening this week, right, Empress Phoenix?
Yeah, it's going to be. We keep hearing around the 15th, I believe.
Okay. You 15th? Okay, now I heard something coming up on the 3rd or the 5th.
Yeah, about them actually being out of money. Yeah.
Okay, running out of money. Okay, so we're getting closer to that time now, and I will say this: what I've seen today, good news and bad news. There was a farmer that was stating that the quote-unquote government came to him to get rid of all his crops. They gave him money, and it wasn't up for discussion. Like, he had to do it. So they gave him double the money to get rid of the crops. Now, the thing about it is, all they said was to just destroy the crops. However, when they came, they dug through pretty much all his land. It was like a nice big ditch of his land was dug through. And I swear it looked like it might have been a couple of feet within the ground. And they put the soil to the side, and he was stating how the government was already labeling the soil and was getting ready to ship off the topsoil from the Midwest, because we have some of the best soil for gardening right here in the Midwest. And they were taking it to the West Coast to be shipped off in shipping containers to give to China to pay back the debt. To pay back the debt. So this debt that they owe China, they're going to have to pay back the debt. Part of that debt, if they can't pay it back, is repossession, foreclosure. Again, that means potentially you. Now, the thing that he did state in that video is that they could not take his land. Now, that could very well be because they know that the Moors have stepped up, the indigenous people have stepped up, and are claiming not only our sovereignty, but being the heirs of this land and claiming the land back. So they probably couldn't take the land, okay, because of us heirs, the ones that's nationalizing. That's why this is so important. However, the products that is theirs, that they're claiming to be theirs, and that's the people that received the jab, the bot shot, okay, and others that still have not nationalized and still being part of that corporate system. They might not be able to take the property, okay, like the house, potentially, depending, okay, but they could definitely still probably try to come back, is what I'm saying, and to take you or your family as their property, their product. You already know, everybody's already seen about the product number that people are able to read off using a QR scanner on their arms where they got the jab. So this is serious, and the line is drawn in the sand, and it's time to make your decision now. Are you going to be the debtor, the slave, the dead corporation, or are you going to be the sovereign heir and be the Christ-like energy, the Christ consciousness return to help save the people from bondage? Which one are you choosing to be? It's up to you. So ask yourself that question, and ask yourself why you have not reached out to get this free information. So, with that being said, I'm going to leave it there. Empress, do you have anything to add to what I just stated before you get on?
I mean, I just want people to know, even I've had to face a reckoning here when it comes to what she's referring to. So I'm also proclaiming who I am right now as well as anymore. And I'm very proud to say that. And the reason why is because it's who I am. We are the people that were supposed to be the custodians of this land. You know, Native Americans are also considered more, I read a lot of history and a lot of law as far as how the birth certificates were discerned and defined once slavery came into law. And it's really disheartening how this has happened to the people that don't even know that they're who they are. They know who you are. It's just we don't know who we are. And that's how people have been able to have big advantages over us because we didn't know who we are. Okay, but as she said, now's the time. You're running out of time. I mean, a lot of people still want to do the passport route, but guess what? That's about to fold. That's about to fold too. And they will stop you. I've already gone through that myself. They will try to stop you. So right now is the time to actually proclaim who you are and also protect you and your family. I don't know why anyone that has kids would not do this, because you would be saving your children. I don't have children, but if I had children, I definitely would do it. That would be the main reason why I would do it, is to make sure that my children were safe. Anything you want to add, Empress?
No, but I'm glad that you gave your testimony as someone that is in the process of proclaiming right now, and just, you know, what you've been stating lately and the things that you've been going through, because she did say that she was having a hard time with the passports, and also just the feeling and the vibe that she has of, you know, claiming your identity. It's just it's a spiritual event that kind of takes place when it happens. Go ahead, Empress. Were you going to say some more on that?
I'm just piggybacking and agreeing with you. Yes, it is a spiritual thing. Because the things that we've been afraid of. Yeah, let me repeat that again. The things that we're afraid of. It's like Stockholm Syndrome. We're scared to be who we are because we're scared of what someone else will think. That's bad. Who else does that? So, you know, I'm overcoming fears. You know, when you do that spiritual work, such as how Empress was talking about, you start to come more into yourself, and you find who you are. You put one foot in front of the other. Every time you take a step, you're going, this is me. I am. Every step, I am. And you know what? All that chatter, all that mental chatter of what other people think, or you should be scared because you can't stand up and do this, all that tends to just fall on the ground. Because guess what? All the people that were trying to enslave you, they're about to become slaves now. Did you hear what I said? So either you're gonna go back into it again, being the lynch that you are, or you're gonna say, oh wait, we've been there before already. Let's stop this. Let's not go there again. So it's a big decision. It's a big spiritual decision.
Mm. You put it in excellent words. I couldn't say it any better than that. And I'm glad that you commented and gave your experience on it, especially for other people that are new to it as well. Just like yourself, new to this information, but you've been studying, you've been researching.
Oh my God.
You done bought so many books, looked
Yes.
at so many videos, and I just commend you for like
Thank you.
standing up, taking the steps, and like being proactive. You're not waiting. You're not
No,
waiting for nothing.
I
And
probably got on your nerves. I'm sorry.
yes, and you definitely shown that. I mean, you are just like a real, you know, soldier. Like seriously, I know you've been
I
in the
am.
military, but like all the way across the board,
I
I
am.
just see it with you on a normal basis. You don't lay down for nothing. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I see that, and I just commend you, and that's why I think we get along so well, because
Yes.
that's some of the things that I see in you, I see in myself,
Yes.
and I think that's why we vibe so much. Yes, Empress. So, I mean, I didn't want to keep the show completely on that, people. I just wanted to, put that out there, because we see what's going on, because
Yeah,
we're doing all this news every day.
yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you can go, give the floor to you. You go straight into what you want to do for tonight, Empress.
Okay, yes. I want to go over some things. We spoke of some different countries and all. There was one thing I wanted to get, and I just don't see it right at this moment. We had someone ask you about a certain place. They asked you about Colombia, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so I did a little work on Colombia. And when I went to look at these particular volcanoes, just to let everyone know in the audience, we have people all over the world in our groups. Okay, they all over the world. I mean, people in Colombia, people in Mexico, Romania, Jamaica, all over the United States. I don't even know where all the people are. There's people I haven't even spoken to. There's a lot of new people that even came into it. So we have someone that actually lives in Colombia that reached out to Empress Sade that wanted to know, are there any volcanoes or where are they? Well, these are the ones that they're telling us about. And the one that concerns me the most, and I haven't had a chance to do a lot of research, but I do recall seeing a lot of earthquakes that were towards Nevada del Riaz volcano. So I know that there's possibly some type of um, seismic activity that is happening around that volcano, which could mean that I'll have to check and see if it's erupted, because we just had one erupt today, Empress, that for the first time in a while. And it starts with a P. It's a very long name. It's in Mexico. I posted it in the room. I actually put a video I found alive that was covering it. So we have volcanoes, guys, that are actually starting to really pop off now. But back to Colombia. These are the ones that we know that we were able to identify in Colombia. But then I want to step further. I did an analysis. Oh, you see this? I did all this for Colombia.
Oh my goodness.
Well, this person has reached out to this person. I want to make sure that we do our due diligence. So what I did was, as you can see there, these are the ones they're telling us about. Let's see, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, when I researched further, it was, let's see, look at all these names here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there's really 16 volcanoes out there. Because some of them border other countries. That was something else I found out. Just because it's located in Colombia, it may border Brazil, or it may border Peru, or Venezuela, and Ecuador. So, but I just want to look at what it says 15. 15 volcanoes considered active. 15 are they considered active? Active? on that little bitty land right there. The
Yeah,
volcanoes are
that's
related.
crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Well,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I found out? You know how the land, you know how a plate can be like going under another plate, you know, the tectonic plates, you know.
Right.
Well, that is called a subduction zone, and that's the problem with the area. It says volcanoes are related to a subduction zone that runs along the whole of America's western margin. Colombia's volcanoes are part of the northern Andes of the Andes and lie on the junction of the three tectonic plates, the Nazca, Caribbean, and South American plates. So that's why they're having all the problems they have there. They have all those plates there. So that is a very volatile place if all of those volcanoes were to start going off. Here it says Colombia will stand as the high ground that frantic survivors in Central America will scramble toward during the shift. So during the shift, the people are going to be going towards Colombia because it's going to be a lot more steadier than the other places, even despite having all those volcanoes. As Panama is the point where water today flows between the Pacific and the Caribbean, this is bridge the safety that will wash out early during the hour of the shift. However, many survivors clinging to floating material will wash up on Colombia shores, wanting to rescue, to be fed, and to be housed. So that tells you what time it is. It's going to be right in, you know, that happens. Yeah, people are going to be running there. Thus, is with many other countries faring better. During the shift than its neighbors, Colombia will find itself a hospital and a refugee camp. From the Amazon basin, likewise, the press of populace seeking high ground will occur. As the Amazon floods during the 2 years following the shift, due to the melting of the existing poles, man and animal life will be on the move. Thus, the high grounds of Colombia will be an interesting place, with conflicts of all 29 kinds abounding in the aftertime. The drug wars, which often dominate the scene in Colombia, will become non-existent if the traffic cannot move. Colombia's drug crop will be used rather to build a horrific reality among those who seek this route. As with all countries of the world, at time will find the populace changing gradually to be more in service to others, with supplies shared among all, and a helpful, positive attitude, replacing groups attempting to climb on top of one another for power and prestige. This is a trend that takes many decades to become evident. However, so Colombia will continue to be a country where guns rule to some extent for some time after the shift. That will cover the post-shift information and also the volcano information. I'll wrap up into Empress. Interesting, huh?
Yeah, definitely interesting. I mean, just from what you said, the overall take is, I guess there will be pieces that is going to be habitable.
Yes.
Afterwards, and a lot of people are going to be trying to migrate there.
Yes.
Okay.
The only thing you have to worry about are the concerns of all those volcanoes there. How they're going to, like I said, they're going to move more than one, you know. One thing that you mentioned earlier that I really didn't want to
Could you come closer to the mic? For some reason, you're kind of out.
There was one thing you mentioned earlier that I want to say something on. Remember we were talking about that too, about how it seemed like things have already changed, already shifted. You know, we were talking about that and you were just mentioning that.
Mm-hmm.
There are geologists that's actually saying that. Some feel that the whole shift itself is going to be a gradual shift, and that it's already happening now. Because right now, the new Madrid, some say new Madrid, or, you know, there's different ways to say it. The new Madrid is actually starting to split right now.
Interesting.
And this is what geologists are saying right now. All I can do is be a parrot right now, you know, because I research, I find out, I listen, and I listened to the things that they were saying to me, and more than one, and especially one just today, actually said that they feel that the shit is already happening right as of right now. But it's going. They feel it's going to be. Some people feel it's going to be a gradual process.
I do too. I feel like the shift has happened, but the stuff that you would see, the effects that you would see, like with the land and all that stuff, is going to be gradual.
Right. It could be. See, one side is saying that it's not going to be, it's going to happen fast, and then another side is saying it's going to happen gradual. So the best we can do is just make sure we let people know what's going to happen to the land. You know, this is why we always say people have to do their homework.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they know how their area looks. They should be able to see what changes are starting. Maybe they don't know or never thought to really pay any attention, Empress, but now with all the stuff that we're talking about, you can't help but go outside and start looking around and wonder if things are changing. Do you see cracks in the ground? Are there cracks in the sidewalk? You know, how is the weather there? You know, or are you starting to have earthquakes in your area? Do you live near a mountain in here and you have earthquakes near those mountains? You know, so now is the time to really start becoming, you know, very aware of your surroundings. You agree, Empress?
Yeah, and you know something, you just mentioned something, and I think what I was going to say is I think it's going to be a little bit of both. I think the shift has happened. It's going to be some things that are going to happen quickly, and I think it's going to be other things that are going to take time and it's going to be gradual. Like, for instance, if you have an earthquake a split happens, that could happen immediate. That may not be anything that's going to take for, you know, a long time.
Right.
Including the volcanoes. Once it erupts and that lava starts to move in, you know, the changes that's going to come from that is going to be more immediate. It may not take a long time. However, you know, some of the stuff that's going on with the ice melting and stuff may take a little longer for people to start to see the effects. And a long time does not really mean years. You know, it could just be, you know, you start noticing, you know, changes month by month, or every couple of months you see some changes. It just may take a couple of years to be complete, like done.
Right.
But you may start to really see it gradually change, you know, day by day. You know, so I think it's going to be a little bit of both. It would be naive to say it's going to be all super quick or all super slow. Yeah,
exactly.
Because it depends on the event. Whatever event could take place, and it might be like in a flash.
Well, one thing people are admitting, a lot of people, I'm starting to see videos go up on this of people that are monitoring the volcanoes and the earthquakes.
Mm-hmm.
They're all saying, wow, we had a lot of activity. One document stated that it was 273 earthquakes for La Palma in 24 hours yesterday, you know, to today.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not counting the other 200 earthquakes that we had when it came to other areas earthquakes. So we actually had close to about 600 different earthquakes within 24 hours. When it came as of this morning.
Okay.
Yeah, people don't understand. You know, I've seen 257, 253. It just depend if you're going off a UTC time or whatever your actual time. You know.
Right.
But I know the article that we had in the room did state that it said 273. Now the problem that we're having is this: USGS, and you know, I guess I don't know if all these different agencies that monitor this seismic activity, if they have agreements or zones, or you know, oh, I'm just going to cover the earthquakes in this area, and then I'll let the adjacent service do it for, you know, for what's after that. You know, I don't know how they have their agreements, but I do know that some of the earthquakes that USGS isn't telling us about, other agencies are. So like I said, I don't know what their actual agreements are. Maybe they have agreements on who reports what, you know, I have no idea. All I know is that not all of them, it seems like not every last one of them are reporting every single last one of them. So collectively, you have to have an app that actually has multiple agencies reporting that information to you so that way you can get more of a realistic view of what actually is happening, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Yeah. One thing I did between last week and today, well, I didn't do this today. I did this, probably finished it off a couple of days ago. I went and looked at some more states. There were certain areas that I didn't cover last time, Empress, and that was places like Massachusetts, Vermont. I didn't go too far over into the east. I have some information on New Mexico. I do know I need to read New Mexico because in Arizona, because there's some people here that have stated that they're considering moving to these places. So I'd like to move on to New Mexico. Do you have anything else you want to add before I start on New Mexico?
No, you can do New Mexico.
Okay.
And then I'll get to a couple other places as well once you're done.
Okay. This is just volcano stuff. This is not post. This is nothing to do with post ship. Someone was asking about the information from New Mexico, and what I came across was, although there are currently no active volcanoes, that's what they're saying in New Mexico, many extinct volcanoes are preserved in the state. Well-known extinct volcanoes in New Mexico include Mount Taylor. They may pronounce it Jimenez, because J is sometimes H. The Albuquerque volcanoes and the Copeland volcano. Also, I found out that there is a volcano that is close to White Sands, not too far from the White Sands State Park. I'll have to remember what county it was. It was Lincoln. It was a place called Lincoln County that actually has a volcano in it that's in the New Mexico area.
Okay.
Yeah. You're in Michigan, right? They have, they were asking whether there were any volcanoes there, and it said, no, you're not Michigan. I always put you in Michigan. It's Illinois. Yeah, I know. I keep doing that to you. But there are volcanoes in the Upper Peninsula. I think I mentioned it last time. But I just wanted to let them know that they have a lot of copper mines in that area. And it's just because of the ancient volcanoes were putting out huge lava flows and minerals at the same time in that area.
Okay, gotcha.
Was there any place particular you want me? I just wanted to.
Yeah, you know something, because I'm thinking about, I know that there's so many people, especially, a lot of us, a lot of melanated people in certain areas. So like New York, New Jersey, Georgia, you got Atlanta up. Let's go through them definitely.
Okay. Now I did mention the volcanoes last week in Atlanta.
Okay, so if people would like to know any more about volcanoes in Atlanta, you may want to look at the shift that we did for last week. Okay, if you're
and this is the information right here for their.
Your phone kind of went out, Empress.
Georgia, is this what you wanted? I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Your phone is going in and out. Are you like far away from the computer?
We both are going in and out. I think it's the line.
Okay. Yeah, well, just try the best you can.
I'll try, baby. What I'll do is I'll scoot even closer. Yeah, we both keep going on, and then it stops.
Then it just stops. Right.
Southern cities in the East Coast, such as Atlanta, Georgia, at an 800-foot above sea level height, will watch a flood approach. This is due in part to the timing of the stretch and rip. That's what we were just talking about. The stretch and rip, as the stretch will be sustained for the better part of an hour during the time when water will rush from the poles, where it has moved during the stop rotation. That's right. Remember, the world is supposed to stop rotating for a period of time, 3 days, and we'll have the push of an oncoming water behind it as it flows up against the coastline. Atlanta, stationed between the Gulf and Atlantic, will also find itself at a place where two floods, both with their own timing of web and flow, clash. It's going to clash. Wow. This has the potential of heightening the water, forcing it up to an astonishing degree where the clash occurs. Now, one thing that Atlanta, Georgia, Missouri, Louisiana, Alabama, those areas are in the flood map to be flooded. And that is part of the New Madrid. New Madrid runs in that direction, up and down, north and south. And that's the part they're saying is splitting. That's what I wanted to mention to you. It was that that area, the areas I just said. So
Okay.
it's really hard to say with Atlanta, but you're going to have to be very careful about floods. That's what it sounds like to me. Especially when the poles start melting.
Okay. And you did Georgia already, so this is just Atlanta because I seen Georgia at
Oh,
the
we
top.
did Georgia's earthquakes. I don't think we did. We didn't do Georgia's ocean information. Let's do that. Yeah, we
Okay.
didn't do this part. Georgia, low-flying lands along the eastern coast of the United States will be drawn below sea level some 150 feet at the start of the ocean. So it's going to go down, okay? Water rushing in over land, that's what we're talking about, pulled down temporarily by the stretch that the seafloor of the Atlantic will experience. This, in combination with the tidal waves that all ocean coasts can expect, will wreak havoc on states such as Georgia. Where Georgia has land in its headlands that border the Appalachian Mountains, the steady rise of land from coast to foothills will actually encourage the water to rise higher as it will gain momentum. Those living in the lowlands of Georgia will in all likelihood drown unless in boats that can deal with wildly sloshing water. Following the shift, these lowlands will also steadily go underwater due to the melting poles. Those wishing to survive are advised to move.
Okay.
Guys, please take into consideration we are getting this information from Zeta Talk, and this is all we have unless we start researching other things, which we do. We're talking to geologists and all of that now, also. Please take that in mind. It's very interesting.
No. And I'm glad you said that. Again, we're just trying to give people a foundation to go off of. If you guys have some information, you can kind of do the study and the research on your areas. And if you guys find any information about any areas, even if it's just specifically your area, and it's different to the research that we have, then please by all means reach out to us, send us that information, leave information either in the comments or in the live chat when you see this airing on YouTube, or you can also reach out to us direct. You can if you're part of the Moors News Network, or even if you aren't, that link will be in the description, or email the Moors News Network at gmail.com, because we're only privy to a certain amount of information. Some of this is a little bit older. However, they did so much research and study themselves to get to this point, but things may change. So always keep in mind that things may change, and you guys have to be like the water and be able just to flow with, however life takes you, and flow with the changes. So this is what we have for now, but again, if you have any information, shoot it over to us. We would love to see it.
Yes, we sure would, because we're we can only, how can I say this? This is something that a group has to really research. If you follow what I mean, I can only research so many earthquakes and volcanoes. I only have so much time in a day. And as Empress, I'm also studying law. I'm studying so much stuff right now. It's unreal. But I spend a great deal of my time looking at what's happening in the world right now and trying to seek out geologists that are people that work with emergency management that are willing to at least talk to someone like me, because I'm not in their circle, but they see that I'm genuine, that hey, I really would like to know some information from you, because there's some people that are listening to me on a weekly basis, and if there's some information I can get them to, please let me know, and please can I show your links, or can I share your information to them? And so I'm going to make sure that Empress has a link to someone that I really, really respect, that has a lot of great information. He's also on Telegram. I just found it out recently. And he will also answer your questions about land, earthquakes, volcanoes, trends that's going on in your area as well. So that's someone else that can talk to also Empress Shade.
Oh, perfect. Okay. That's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, every little bit counts. He's helping me. And you want me to go to Alabama too, because it's right there?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Alabama is not a location to be situated in during the coming cold shift. There, where some areas are far enough inland and high enough to avoid being swamped during a tidal wave sloshing that accompanies the cold shift and the day or so after, there are other factors to be considered. Alabama is among the states affected by miserly Mississippi when in a horrific backlash. What happened during the last reset, so they say, and I just listened to this again for I don't know how many times. For those that didn't survive that were able to take cover, the Mississippi River went backwards. It actually flowed backwards for a few days before it came back and went back to normal. This was during it. So there's a lot of weird things. I think the magnetic the magnetic poles that we have on the Earth is going to be like offset. So there's all kinds of stuff that's going to be happening that's probably not going to be explainable as far as how the physics of things, how things are going to be operating during this time.
Right. Okay.
Electromagnetic fields. I think that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, because we had one of the nobles in the chat, remember, and I think in the live chat when we were talking to him last week, he had stated that his compass was off.
Uh-huh.
And him and a couple others, he said he confirmed it with a few other people, and they all were saying the same thing, that their compass was off. So I'm like, okay.
Have you noticed that sometimes when you're using Google Maps, that happens too? And like last week, it kept telling me I cannot find that location.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we are going to. I do believe we are going to something right now. As we keep saying, it's so gradual. You know, I mean, right now when I go up to my thermostat, you know how your thermostat will read what's going on outside and inside.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes I'll click on it, you know, because it activates when I click it, and then all of a sudden it'll say error. I'm like, what do you have an error for? You just give me the temperature of what's outside, but it can't give it to me because something's wrong.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just something's wrong, but I don't know what it is when it does that. You know.
You know what I think? I think just listening to us and it just hit me. I think that you know, they wanted to tell us that it was going to be everything was going to happen quickly, and it was going to be something many years from now, so we wouldn't see it happening, while it's happening all around us gradually.
Yeah.
Which some things are happening quickly, but you know, they don't put a lot on the news, so you wouldn't be keeping up with all of the changes that's going on everywhere, and so you wouldn't know. And as long as it's happening gradually, you wouldn't kind of see it, and they can kind of hide it. So
yeah,
that's my thought. Yeah. Well, you know, I guess it didn't really work, because I mean, if we're talking about it, it didn't work. So
no, it didn't work. Well, that whole area that we're talking about also falls under the New Madrid Fault. And this is close to where I live. This is why I want people to understand. I'm going to probably start joking about it, because I'm talking about me now. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about me. I'm okay. I don't have a boat, so I know it's going to flood here, so I got to move, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because the high school near where I live at, they keep redoing the floor in the gym room of the high school, because water keeps raising up in the bottom of the high school, okay? I mean, I know I'm in trouble, you know. Mm-hmm. Even though my what do you call it, my altitude is 950, it's about 900, a little bit over 900. Over sea level, but the problem is that there's too much water here, and the ground is just solid.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I fall into this also. I'm just as bad off as someone in Alabama and Georgia, the places that you can just read about. So please, don't think it's just you. That's why I have to joke about it when it comes to me, because I understand what time it is, you know. But from studying and researching, I know where I need to go, and I know where I need to avoid.
Yeah, and you know something, I'm glad you brought that up, because it was me and another Empress yesterday. We were talking, and we were just laughing and joking. And I said, you know what? You know, sometimes you gotta laugh to stop from crying. And she was like, you know something? I was just telling She was like, I was just telling my son the other day the same thing. Like, sometimes you got to
Yeah,
laugh to stop from crying. I mean, you're going through some things.
yeah.
You don't have to be solemn. It's a state of mind. You can still keep your vibes up and
Ab-
then do something about it. It's easier and you can joke around with it and everything, especially when you're doing something and you're being proactive. So,
Absolutely.
you're getting this knowledge now. Again, same way we're telling you, don't sit back and wait for when it comes to your nationality and stuff like that. Don't sit back and just wait for something when it comes to, the shift. If you see the things and you know the things are going on, then, you could do something about it, so you can take control over as much as you can take control over. That's important right now. Empress, are you still there? Because it sounds like your phone kind of cut off. Okay.
Uh-oh, it
There
just,
you
the
are.
whole service just went out and came back, I think.
Yep. There you go. I can hear you now.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I was listening to you and it just went quiet. I'm like, no, I want to hear her.
Yeah, no, well, I'm good now. I was just finishing up on that, like, just so people. I'm like, oh no, what I'm going to do? Because some people get depressed easy, or
Yeah.
sad,
Yeah.
or fear, and it hits them, and then anxiety hits. No, none of that.
No,
Because
no.
it's things that you can do, and even if you say, well, I don't have the money right now. You know what? You mentioned something about like just being in a place, and everybody needs this. We didn't talk about this, Empress, and I'm glad we talking about it right now. I just thought about something. I've been trying to say this for about the past 2 shows.
What's that?
One of the tools that no one has thought about. You might not be able to swim like a fish, but you can go get one of those life preserver, those life jackets. Okay, so just in case anything was to happen as far as water, you can have a life jacket on. We never discussed that, um, uh, about that, and and even when it comes to boats, because a lot of times we say, well, boats may not make it through the water, and boats may not because it's going to bump on things and stuff. However, you may want to get that life jacket and put it on, because it could very well be the thing that protects you. Uh,
Absolutely.
so then that you, just in case you're in that situation, even if you get to somewhere you think is safe, considering we're all just going based off of, certain knowledge, but no one really completely knows, invest in a life jacket for you and your family and your dog if you need to. Invest in a life jacket,
That is
it
the
may be.
best advice.
Yep, yep. I kept forgetting, and every time I'm like, you know what? When I come on, I'm gonna do it, and I keep forgetting. But you just mentioned about, over there in the land you talked about Missouri and the Madrid and stuff, and it made me think, like, yeah, I mean, no matter where you go, just in case, invest
Yeah.
in a life jacket.
And
That
then
might
food
be
on
one
the
of the.
boat would be nice too if you have something that you can carry it in. They might have
Absolutely.
some of the compact ones, but when
Yep.
I look at these vests, Empress Sade, they're not that expensive.
No, and I'm glad you pulled them up on the screen. There's some right there.
One of
Even
them
that
is
one.
$8.99. I mean, I'm sure it still works.
Yeah. Something is better than nothing. Even
Yeah.
if you're the best swimmer, it's only so long you can swim. A lot of the best swimmers, when you're talking about big waves and stuff like that,
Mhm.
may give out when it comes to swimming.
You can
But the
always
life jacket,
start. This would be great. And look at this kayak fishing life jacket. They got all
I
kinds.
like that.
Me too.
These are the ones I was looking at, that 4-pack, because I was looking at the family. They got a 4-pack
Oh
right
yeah,
there
the 4-pack
for
was that.
79. You
No.
just said it. It was the orange one, 4-pack 79. Go down, son. Where is that at? Right there.
Oh, that's. Oh yeah.
For those that have families, because that's what I was looking at. You can get a 4-pack, or
This is
get
not
2
a
of those
bad.
babies. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'll put this down as one of our objects that one of the things that we looked at. The way we can put it in the link.
Okay, good.
The show's links are right here because I have some
Okay.
things I have already, but I'm going to make sure that we Copy the link so that way we can, share that with everybody. That's a good idea, though. That's really a great idea.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it yet. I said, wait a minute. And I've been, because I was looking at those particular ones that you have on the screen. I said, okay, I'm
That's
going
not
to
bad, too,
get
because you
that.
think about the people, the amount of money you're spending for 4 people, that's not bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
I thought about maybe even getting a few packs and give one to my mom, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
To my sister, because I know they're not, they're not even completely sleep as much as it is. They may not do and go all out
And look, it
the
has
way I
good
would.
ratings, too. Look at that.
I always try to look at the ratings.
It's the
People
best thing
look
for
at the
the entire
ratings.
family.
Yeah, look at the ratings and then even check the comments and stuff like that if you need to.
Yeah.
I like to do that as well and just try to buy the best one that you can, buy
Well,
the
that
best one
looks
that
like
you
a good
can.
investment so far. Just looking at the people were pleased. It sounded like this one person was for the entire family for an outing. So yeah, this looks like a really good thing to look into, guys. It
Yeah.
really does. And it looks like it is shipped pretty fast.
Okay, I see it. Mhm.
Because guys, think about this. Remember, we don't know what date we say. If we have a date this week and we have the 15th as the final date, right, for the budget or something like that.
Yeah.
So we got like a week, and we don't know if they're gonna just say, okay, forget it. We don't have anything after the solar eclipse. I mean, after the eclipse, they might be like, oh, that's it, guys. Shop, closed. Shops closed. One thing I do want to remind people: there's been always a saying for many decades. If the economy was to crash, it would normally crash on a Friday.
Oh, I'm glad you said that because they did say that the stock market crashed last Friday.
They will always do it on a Friday, from what I heard. This is, I mean, I gotta say this, Empress, and I hope people understand. When it comes to what that term New World Order, I was one of those people that used to bring that term up, and everybody told me that I was a conspiracy theorist, along with all my friends and all the people that we were researching stuff. And this was back in the 90s and also the early 2000s and mid 2000s. Now that everybody's accustomed to the term, when we first was reading about that, we knew that the economy was going to crash back then. And they always said it was going to be on a Friday. And throughout all these decades, I keep hearing it, the same thing, Friday. I don't know if it's definitely going to be on a Friday, but it has always been said that it would be on a Friday, that it would, and people will wake up that next Monday and realize that there was no economy. Because they won't even tell you over the weekend.
Mhm.
You would just wake up. It's like, oh, we're just going to start the new week and let them know then,
Yeah.
let them have their last fun that Friday night.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm
But I
glad
just
you
want
brought that
people to
up.
know that.
Okay.
That's okay. We can have a party anyway. It don't matter.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we
It wouldn't
are.
matter. Let alone, I mean, if you just put your attentions, and that's why we're going to do, for those that are interested, I am going to do the magic classes. I know a few people had talked about it, but just a piece of that right now I'll just share is a lot of times, like they'll say in the news, they'll say it's going to be cold out, and they'll give the forecast for the next 7 days that it's going to be cold out.
Right.
A lot of times, just know this, that we are the ones actually helping to create the weather. We're co-creating. So even when they say it's cold outside, oh, it's going to be crazy, if you start to think and put your intentions of, no, I want it warm, it's going to be warm, oh, I feel it warm, it's going to be sunny, and push those intentions out there, just check and start to do a little magic of your own and see what happens if it lasts a little bit longer and it's warmer. Because I just recently did that because they were talking about how cold. I said, oop, I don't need it, cold yet. I need to
Yeah.
keep it a little bit warmer because I'm about to get some things, because I have a little livestock myself. So I'm like, let me get some things for them. And by the way, guys, livestock is good for trading.
Yes,
Even
it is.
if if you don't eat meat, that's fine. It's going to be great for trading. So it's something that you may want to look at and invest in a little bit, because food and gold and silver. We forgot to talk about that, but we were talking about that before
Oh,
we
I was
came
going to get
on.
to it at the end, but yeah, we
Oh,
got to talk
okay.
about that. We got to talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, that's something to have. But I just said to myself, oh, let's let it be warm a little bit longer. And sure enough, the temperature has rose and it's pretty much warm all this week. It's going to be
Yeah.
60 something tomorrow,
Was
but
it
it wasn't
beautiful
supposed to
today?
be. I'm sorry, Empress.
Was it beautiful out there today?
Yes, it was beautiful today.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. But the thing was, it wasn't supposed to be. I remember what they said. It was supposed to be cold, and then it's like, oh, it may make it to 40s. Next, 50s. Now it's they're talking about 60s.
I don't think
So,
their weather system that they normally are in control of is working.
well, it's not. Number one, they have us doing our magic. We're intentionally fighting against the system. You gotta always remember that. And with the it wasn't supposed to be cold right now anyway. They've been manipulating the weather. It's supposed to
Oh
be
yeah.
warm everywhere. So their system is just not working no more. And as time goes on, it's just not going. Everything they're doing is just not going to be able to work. But a lot of it's because of our push through our magic,
Yes.
through our intentions.
And we do have it, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just thought I would share that right
No,
quick,
I'm
and then
so
we'll
glad
just.
you did. I'm glad you did. And since we're talking about a certain area, would you like to cover D.C.? What will happen there? We have a lot of people out there.
Yes, we need to know exactly what would happen in D.C.
Yeah, in spite of the advantages of being close to mountain ranges in the surrounding states that afford protection from tidal waves and the rising waters following polar melts, Washington, D.C. has issues particular to itself as a city. This will become increasingly evident as the pole shift nears and polarization intensifies between those who care for others, the service to others, and those who are essentially self-focused, the service to self. This keeps popping up a lot. Home to the Pentagon and the CIA and to the politicians and lobbyists, survivors will find themselves with the worst kind of neighbors to contend with. Accustomed to finding themselves at the top of the heap, giving orders and pulling their resources from the taxpayers who live and labor elsewhere. Most survivors will be demanding service from others, scarce stores, which will evaporate in days after the shift, will not be replaced from gardens or by hunting and those used to pampered lives or urban living. Some form of martial law is sure to be imposed quickly, stripping resources from anyone nearby who has prepared. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Guys, this is why we say this over and over again. Get over yourself with people that are around you and start forming these communities. An island will not be able to survive very well out here because there's going to be some vicious stuff going on. So if you can find a way to be in a community with people you trust or people that you feel you can try to start trusting or who you can accept that they're not exactly perfect, but there's someone that you know you can rely on, you need to pull those people close to you. You need to reel them in just like you're casting out a line and just reeling them into you because it's time. It's time. You've been socially engineered to be against yourself and to be against other people. We have to break the spell now. We have to break now.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't love others if you don't love yourself. So it does definitely start with self-love. And then once you love yourself, you'll be able to love other people, and it'll be okay because sometimes people have so much hate or anger with other people because of the hate and anger that they have in themselves.
Absolutely. Oh God, yeah. That is so true. Now, Maryland, you want me to touch one more and then maybe hit a couple of tornadoes? Okay. Maryland rises from the sea, its rolling countryside and good soil making it an attractive place to live, a commuter's paradise. These qualities will lure many who live there to remain during the coming changes. This will be their doom, as when survivors from Washington, D.C. look about them for food and the slave classes that have been taken from them by a loss of mobility and communications, they will seek to enslave the hapless survivors nearby. The king serf class structure will be justified in their minds as a return to order and control of government. But in fact, it will be a place to power elites on top again. But will in fact be to place power elite on top again. Whoever will avoid this enslavement should put enough distance between the elite and themselves to prevent visits or even discovery. You know what I think? No, I probably shouldn't say that. I don't think people with that I'll just say it this way. I think people with that mentality under the circumstance will be dealt with. So I don't think that's really going to be too much of an issue, especially if you're talking about Maryland and Washington D.C. I don't think people out there are going to let that roll that way.
Right.
If anything, a whole bunch of them might be saying, "Nah, I'm a king, and I'm a queen." So all kinds of stuff is going to be happening. It's just really unpredictable.
Yeah.
So all I have to say, people, is you really going to need to be close to each other. You're going to have to be able to be service to others, because that's how communities used to be. Even when I was growing up, I'll give you a clue. Even when I was growing up and as a kid and in the 70s, I saw how people were. They were close. They were nothing like what I see today. They were actually close. The whole community raised a child then. You know, and they weren't out there trying to get the kid to go in the house and do something bad. They were actually, look, I'll whip your butt because I got permission, and I'm going to whip your butt all the way to your house and going to tell your mama what you did. That's how it was. I know. I got told on. Trust me, I know. But, guys, we're going to cover as much as we can. I want to try to cover Philadelphia at least, and come back to Jersey next week at least. Because, you know, I care about you people out there. I used to live in Delaware, and I don't think the information is getting out there to you. Philadelphia considers itself a coastal as well as a riverfront town. Due to the location, along with the river emptying into the Atlantic nearby, where this location helped Philadelphia develop in its early days, this dual access to moving water will be to its detriment during the pole shift. During the hour of the pole shift and the hours following, there will be torrential rain swelling the rivers as well as tidal waves roaring by the bay. I think we kind of expect that, though, guys. I think we kind of understand that. The class waters will come near Philadelphia, with the effect that the city streets will be inundated with housing collapsing and debris crashing about in the waves. With ocean, sorry, my nose is getting stopped up from some weird reason. With ocean ships afloat in the streets, even high rises cannot be considered safe, as they can sustain collision and collapse. This is not a safe city to ride out the pole shift, as few cities frankly are. That's the key, guys. Most cities are not safe to be in during the pole shift. You have too many people. It's just too many people on top of each other. And also, so many people, how can I say this? People are going to become so competitive for everything. And I'll say it like this. Some of you guys have relatives that they may live out in the sticks. That's probably the safest places to be, because
absolutely,
the mentality, right, Empress, of the people are a lot different. Where I live, color has not been ever an issue. People wave, hug you, or hi, baby, hi, ma'am, hey, hon. Everybody talks the same to everybody, so it's not. I haven't seen anything. I'm not saying I won't see anything, but I'm just saying this day to day, there's certain things I don't deal with. I just don't deal with, and you may stand a better chance just finding places where you don't have a lot of animosity. The people don't compete with each other. Have a good home feel. Those are the kind of places I think would be the best places to try to be at this time. You know. What are your thoughts, Empress?
No, absolutely. You know, they said that a long time ago. When I first was hearing about just everything, even if it wasn't specifically about the pole shift, it was definitely about the collapse and the collapse of the economy and the U.S. corporation. One of the main things they stated was to get out of the cities.
Yes.
Go as far in the rural areas as you possibly can. You're going to have to get away from being on top of so many people, because when the time comes for those people that are not prepared, they're going to need a lot. And they're going to be out on the prowl trying to take whatever they can
Yes.
to feed them and their family. That's what it's going to really, it's going to be, kind of the survival of the fittest type. So basically, when you're in a situation like that, the worst thing you can do is be around so many people. Now, not to say that, again, like what Empress Phoenix was talking about, building your community and having people that's on the same path that you are on, and you may very well come across some people that may need help, and you're going to have to be weary on helping people. But
Yep.
even then, if you do decide to, help the people, then you'll be able to do that without having to be bombarded
Right.
by so many people, and you're not going to be able to help them all. And that's going to be like just the worst, position to be in, when you're prepared as much as you can, but no one else around you is. So now you're like a sitting duck. You do not want to be a sitting duck at that
That's
time.
what I'm scared of. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because and look at and listen to what she was saying. The thing about being in a group like that, you're better. You can. The course I'm taking right now was perfectly explained it perfectly. In order to protect yourself, you can't do it by yourself, because you can't always see at all angles around you. And however, if you have a group can take shifts watching and make sure the situation is secure. They can look at, one could be over in the back, one could be in the front. You have a broader range of being able to keep your area secure. I'll put it that way. So by being in a community is not just for just not being alone, it's also for adding security to each other. And also you're able to put all your different talents together. One may be able to build good, the other one may be able to grow food good, the other one may be able to acquire things good, like going out scavenging. Oh, grandma over there, she remember how it was to look for, she could go out there, and we were talking about foraging. Grandma knows about what things you can eat, what things you can't eat. She'll go out there and bring a whole big old pot of greens, and you won't know what the greens are that you're eating. You see what I mean? So we need to figure out a way to get everybody, as many different skill type people together, and they need to be cohesive, because your lives depend on it. And there's going to be, I would say it like this: you're going to have one extremely strong woman and one extremely strong man. And the reason why I say this is, the man is going to have to be a man to keep men in check. I mean, he's going to have to be a very mature, very level-headed person. And then you're going to have the same thing with a female to keep the female in check. You cannot have a group unless you have some sort of order. Okay? This is why you have to identify who's going to be in charge, who's not going to be in charge of that group, and what the different roles are for each person. That is the only way that group is going to run effectively, and everyone has to be dedicated to that group, that they're going to fulfill the roles of their particular roles. They have to say, okay, I am committed to being this in the group. We have to get organized. We really do. We have to get our hearts right, with each other, so that way we can at least be around each other during those survival situations. There are some groups out there that can already do this. They don't even need to hear this. They already know. I tell you what, if there was a militia group listening right now, they would be sitting back, oh, we already know that, because they're organized. They know what their roles are. They know what they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, now I'm starting to sound military. I'll calm down. But I'm just saying, you have to have someone that thinks like that in order to stay organized. We don't know what challenges we're going to face being out here. You might end up out in the wild. You don't know. And I don't want to scare anybody. For me personally, If I was in a group, I would at least feel secure. I would feel a lot more
Right.
secure. A matter of fact, my shoulders would go down and they would actually relax. And then I would have the role. If I didn't know what my talent was, the first thing I would say, Empress, the first thing I would say would be, "What do you need help with?" I would walk up to someone. How can I help you with that? And in the process, you'll learn how to do something if you're not used to being out in the wild. Just walk up to people. How can I help you with that? If you have a relative that goes hunting right now that goes hunting, that is going hunting, can I go with you? Someone that's going fishing, can I go with you? Even if you're not really interested in fishing, you need to go. You need to go out there and get the experience of being out in nature if you're not used to it, and watch how they do things while they're catching those fish. Watch how they do things while they're hunting. It's time for us to start learning. Fathers, grab your sons and take them fishing, take them hunting. Perfect opportunity to start doing that right now. Perfect. For the mothers that know how to grow food, grab those kids, show them how to grow some food. It's just going to take a whole village for us to be able to keep each other going, and the children are going to have to know what to do to keep going after you're not here, because it's not going to change. They're going to need to know how to do those things too. And I hope I didn't get too far off the subject, but I just thought it was appropriate because we were talking about food. I mean,
that's good. I'm glad that you interjected with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I really care about, I don't know, a lot of you I will probably never see, but I know the energy of my people, and I know if they're hearing this, I know a lot of them are fearful. We want to comfort you with information, so that way you can start thinking of different strategies or different stuff you need to do. Empress Sade and I we are so much alike. It's crazy, but we're opposites. We heard I have spoken to this, but we get along and we really balance out really good, and we just really both have a big, huge heart, and we just want to make sure that you guys know that we really care about you guys out there.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, because we really do, and we just want to make sure that we give you as much information as we can. We cram a lot in the time that we're here. We may start off on one thing, but we end up on another because we realize there's a need, though. We realize there's a need to probably talk about what we're talking about at that particular time,
Right.
But I'll get off my little soapbox, and I just want to say I'm really grateful that this lady here just allows me to talk like this, because she lets me express myself, and it just really feels good because, like I said, I could be talking about one thing, and it just ties into something else that's just as important, and community is a very important thing.
Very important. Yep. Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because everybody needs to have a voice and be heard. Everyone has one, but are you stepping up, being heard? Right now, a lot of people are getting shut down when it comes to having a voice. I know you guys have spoken to friends and family that have not been listening to you already. Colleagues that have not been listening to you. You are the crazy one coming with all this information.
Right.
So you've been shut down enough. Everyone has been shut down enough. So again, just the group itself was just something to where everyone can come and have their voice. It's not about shutting people down. Number one, no one knows it all. No one knows it all.
I know.
And again, whatever I think I know now may very well change tomorrow with the right information.
Exactly.
Someone just have not introduced the right information. I have not researched the right information or ran into the right person that would have the information that would change my mind. Okay.
Right?
Yeah, it could easily change tomorrow. So right now, everybody's operating, and I love Empress Light, she says this, operating at the level of your overstanding. Everybody's operating at the level of their overstanding, understanding, center standing. Okay?
That's all we can do.
That's all you can do. Nothing else. So right now, the way you're operating today, you know dang well was definitely different than where you were operating 5 or 10 years ago. So everybody can probably even see that already. So just think another 5 or 10 years, okay, where you're going to be, okay? So with that being said, it is important to get your perspective because everybody is part of this experiment, okay, on this earth, this physical realm, to get our experience out, and our perceptions out, and then we're able to see the picture from another person's point of view, of what's going on. So sometimes two people can actually be right depending on their point of view.
Right.
You know what I mean? Depending on their point of view, I mean, you both seen an accident. From my point of view, I may see one person, something happen to them. From your point of view, you might see something else happen on the other side of the vehicle that I didn't get a chance to see. So I can't just say that you're wrong, and you might not be able to say that I'm wrong because you didn't see what I seen as well. So, you just got to leave yourself open for change. Because that's the only thing that's constant is change. No, that's the only thing that's ever going to happen is change. So leave yourself open. Don't put the dunce cap on and close yourself off to. And a lot of time, and when people go to school, and I'm sorry to be talking about people that went to school and got degrees. I mean, I have a degree myself. Okay, I have 2 of them, so I do understand. But when you get those degrees, a lot of us think we know it all and then just cap ourselves off to learning any information. You can learn from a crackhead. You can learn from a bum on the street. You can learn from a child. You can learn from an animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can learn from anybody. Don't ever, and the people, especially people that you think or people say that person's crazy. You can learn from everything and everybody. So don't cut anyone off, The other day I was going into a store and somebody had came to me, and as I was walking in, the lady had came and said, she said, "Oh yeah, be careful because there's a guy up there begging for change." And, she tried to tell me to, kind of hit me up to it, don't want to be bothered with him. And, he came and he asked for some change. I gave him the change. If he needs it, I'm not going to be sitting there I hope he's not buying any alcohol. Yeah. If that's what he needs to do, it's not for me to be telling him what he needs to do with it. I do what I do from the goodness of my heart. Whatever they do with it there, from that point, it's totally up to them. And that's not for me to be counting on what they do. They better buy some food. If they buy food or they go buy alcohol, whatever they need at that time to get through their situation, that is none of my business, and let them be. You always just come from your intentions, from the center of your heart. And as long as your intentions are pure, then everything else will fall into place. You know what I mean? I've been, normally I would say blessed, but be moored, right?
Yeah, be moored. Yeah, please, no. Be less,
be more.
No. Be more, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I have received more. I have received more from doing more and helping more, and I've seen it, on a spiritual, and I'm never going to change because of what anybody, says. So, it's just good to be able to have that opening where people, can be free to be who they are, and that's what it's pretty much all about. So I just want to share that.
I'm glad you did. You reminded me of a story when you was talking about one person seeing one thing, one person seeing another. I know there's somebody out there who's going to correct me on this Orisha real quick short story of Alegba, how he was walking down the street, and I guess there was something about 2 friends that saw him and have been friends for life. Well, they saw him walking, and I guess they were trying to figure out what color his hat was. One said it was red, the other one said it was black. And they got in a very bad argument. And there's more to the story, but I can't remember it all. I want someone to put this in the comments, if there's a link to it. I'm just going off of my brief memory of reading it. There was more to it, but people, their friendship broke up because of the fact that one saw red and one saw black. But the thing is the hat was half black and half red.
See?
It depends where they were standing on what color they actually saw. They both were right.
I'm glad you told that story. Thank you for that.
You're so welcome. always love to see you think of an analogy because I notice sometimes, I can say something to someone and they get it. And then I can say something to someone else and they're like, well, how could two people be right if they're saying two different things? Well, let me tell you a story how, you know?
That's right.
That's something else we missed. We don't do any longer. And I mentioned this in the chat. We used to have story nights. We used to tell
Mm.
our biggest things as far as secret things of the cosmos, stories of nature stories. I mean, all the different scientific things that we had discovered. We used to always say them in little small stories where anybody could understand them. We need to get
Right.
back to that. We need to get back to the families and the groups getting together and having their story nights. We used to have the poetry nights, which I used to think was really nice. But we need to get back to telling stories, stories of wisdom, stories that can give someone a lesson, that can help them
Mm-hmm.
life. You know, we used to
Mm-hmm.
do that. We used to do that.
Yeah, you're right, and that's something to think about. I mean, right now, even what we're doing is more like an open chat for people to come and say things, but we are going to be doing more and more of stuff, like that, just so
Yes,
people can share
yes, yes.
whatever it is, whatever it is. Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll make sure I'll come back next week with some more. I have loads of information, as you can see, to go over, and I also have some volcanoes that I didn't talk about. There's some in
Okay.
Wisconsin, Trinidad, Virginia. We'll go through those. Massachusetts, Nevada. So we'll go through all of that. We'll go through some volcanoes and stuff. I've researched so much, but I'm going to add on to this. I'm not just going to take it for granted that, I have information for next show. I'm not going to do anything. Just to let everybody know, I will be researching La Palma, and I really hope and pray that that volcano does survive and not fall apart. I'm just going to say it like that because for a volcano to get 273 earthquakes in 24 hours, that's a whole bunch, guys.
Mm.
And then,
Yes, it is.
like I was saying, they have 200 volcanoes, I mean, not volcanoes, but earthquakes happen at other places, so that's
Mhm.
close to 600. So,
Oh
and
wow.
and Empress, when we started the show, I did take a peek at La Palma, and it was really going off.
Oh wow.
So, just to let you know, I will keep the chat group and Telegram. I'll make sure that they stay up to date on what's going on. And we do have a new volcano that is erupting. What is the name of it? There's La Palma. I know I won't be able to show the video. Oh, that's him there. As you can see, and that poor lady and her dog. You know her. I'll get the information to everybody. I'll make sure I put it in the link. But it's a very long name of a volcano that's actually in Mexico right now that's actually erupting.
Okay.
So I'll get that information out to you. Matter of
Okay.
fact, since I know I can do this, it might be too far up. You know how y'all, this is our chat. This is how much we talk, and we give all these different things to everybody. I'm sorry, Empress, I had to brag about your channel.
You can't see it on the screen, but I know exactly what you're talking about because I do that too. If you go too long without looking, it's like 1,000 things on there. I was just thinking that before we even came on. I was just thinking that. I said, "Oh my goodness! Like how much could I possibly have missed?"
Well, we got in a conversation about the number 13 and how significant it is. Next thing you know, and I'm going to say this out to Rob, between Kenosha and Rob ended up putting out I said, Rob, you just put like 24 hours worth of videos for me to watch. Now, I'll be back. I have to leave because, that's how many videos he put out. If they're 2 hours, if you put 12 of them out there, that's about 24 hours worth of videos.
Yeah, you're right.
But you have some great people in the group, and it's just so much fun being in there.
Yeah, it is, and I'm just glad that people are really participating.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and especially with the information that you're giving as well.
Thank you.
So we're wrapping up. Is there anything else that you need to share before we end it for tonight?
I just want everybody to know to love each other, care about each other, make amends with each other. We need each other right now. You've had a common enemy against you all this time. Let's make amends with the ones that weren't really our enemies and get close to them, because they really weren't the enemy. You know who the enemy was. And that's all I have to say, Empress.
Okay. Well, you heard it, guys. And again, thanks for tuning in. And we will see you guys next week, okay, on The Shift. I am Empress Sade El Bay, and this is the Moors News Network signing off. Peace and love.
Peace and love.